It is currently 7:15 on Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Excuse me, I wanted to say 2022 because I've been referencing the same date in 2022. But it is indeed April 9th, 2024, and it's currently 7:15 in the morning. And what I want to juxtapose this ongoing admission. This is criminal presence. This is the state that's maintaining constructive presence inside of the private space. And also, as you'll see, the specific environment surrounds outside on the property of Alvarado Gardens and beyond. This is a government that's engaging in criminal surveillance in concert with the people of the state. And it's it coexists with what is the unnatural environment. And this engineered light is touching all over the grounds. That is the maintenance of that specific environment by the state that's engaging in surveillance in concert with the people of the state, and it is occurring, it is present. This is maintenance of what is criminal presence of a target individual, an American citizen subject to surveillance, in other words, in the absence of any warrant or probable cause, which is exactly what the government needs in order to place you under surveillance, in order to engage in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. But I want to be clear, there is no constitutional basis to engage in. There is no lawful grounds whereby the government in the United States can place an American, a so-called free citizen, an American citizen, under surveillance at all places, both supposedly public places, which are referred to where federal group stalking and monitoring is underway, at all facilitating venues, that's at any residence where a third party resides. It's not a private residence. The engineered light is speaking to what is a system of surveillance, and the entity is maintaining vicarious presence, that is presence in the path, absent any warrant, and that is criminal presence. And that's how you're prosecuting the people of the state who are group stalking where they live, group stalking where they work, and I want to be clear, that is presence in the path wherever the target individual is going, and that's the significance of the specific environment, which literally pursues the targeted individual, and that's the body of evidence speaking to what is terrorism while a government is practicing demonic activity whereby demon-possessed people, a demon-possessed population are following, that is stalking, remaining, which is stalking, any and everywhere that the targeted individual is going, and they are doing so in a specific environment. It is identified through the supernatural occurrence, that is the sun, as you would ordinarily refer to it in your ignorance, because the sun is in reference to the natural environment. The sun, by the way, where there was a so-called eclipse yesterday, but that's not the sun and that's not the natural environment. There was no eclipse yesterday. The light source is not the sun. The light source is hovering over me, engaging in the same exact conduct, rising and setting in alignment. There is one sun, and regardless of any explanation that you're giving on the news, I want to be clear, the one sun was hovering, rising in alignment to apartment 1806, apartment number 6, and it was setting in alignment to apartment 1806, number 6 yesterday evening, as you saw in the video that I captured at 5:49 p.m. And that is not the one sun that you saw as I took pictures of showing you, and you saw the news yourself, and they're talking about an eclipse. There's only one sun, okay? And so this is speaking to what is impossible. What you are being told about and what people are witnessing is not that light source that's hovering over me. This is speaking to what is a supernatural occurrence, and it's also not only demonic, it is criminal. And this demonic pattern of conduct that the government is practicing, the government is maintaining presence, is following from place to place in a specific environment, and they're doing it in an unnatural. This specific environment is entirely unnatural, and the character of this light, not only is its presence unnatural, its presence is an ongoing indication of that criminal presence by the state, who is stalking and pursuing, maintaining presence in that environment. So this is the magnification of light through closed blinds at a distance, appearing upright on the wall, and the entity is maintaining what is criminal presence. And this is again, as I've spoken to, an admission that's going to be used against the people of the state who are of the same condition. These are demons who are identified as the people of the state who are criminally remaining in the path of the targeted individual. And this is both the identification of what is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring, which is criminal surveillance. And this is an operation by the government. And this is why you see the pattern of conduct, the ongoing heavy duty stalking by the state in helicopter. Okay, it's occurring in this supernatural environment. This is a government that's engaged in criminal surveillance. This is a government that's being captured, documented, and exposed, engaging in terrorism. And they're doing it in concert with the people of the state who are jointly maintaining ongoing criminal presence. This is surveillance outside of the bounds of the law, and it is done in concert with the people of the state. This is also referred to in the vernacular as the secret society. I want to be clear, the wealth of documentation of the entity pursuing and following and remaining and harassing by helicopter occurs today, this morning. Also, I want to be clear, the entity in the specific environment engaging in what is terrorism, stalking by helicopter, and the entity is doing this 24 hours a day. Remember, the entity is doing nothing other than, number one, engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring. This is a demon that uses helicopter activity as the method of audible activity while they are crossing path in the specific environment, monitoring with the people of the state who are maintaining presence all around. And also the demon-possessed entity that's engaging in surveillance is engaging in federal stalking in violation of Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2 as well. So understand that the entity is just sounding helicopter as also, number two, a means to threaten the targeted individual, threaten your life, communicate the fact that they are stalking and monitoring you. They are also at the same time, this is in regard to the policy that I advocate, doing so posing an impermissible threat. All right, the entity is monitoring, threatening, group stalking, placing under surveillance the targeted individual that is aware of it and is documenting it, which is again the initiation of a federal investigation of the government that's engaging in criminal surveillance, which is independent grounds of federal prison. And this is what the entity has been doing. You saw a wealth of videos captured yesterday, April 8th, while the world was talking about an eclipse, and you saw the light source remaining over me, rising just like it is today, and setting just like it will today in alignment to my apartment where there is no sun. That's not the same light source, that's not the same sun that they are in reference to looking at with their glasses, observing in the sky space. They're not looking at any sky space that is hovering over apartment 1806, where I'm showing you at 11:50 a.m. It's hovering over the edge of my apartment here in Los Angeles, where it's rising in alignment to my apartment. And this is not normal sunlight either. And so I want to be clear on, at the same time, 7:15 in the morning, I am located at 320 West G Street in Ontario, California. And you will see, again, the same light activity. It's engineered light that's appearing in the back of a vehicle. And you'll see the back windshield is covered up. And also the front windshield is covered up. This is the manifestation of light, just like you saw in my law office, just like you saw in my office, in my leasing office downstairs yesterday afternoon. You saw it's like a window. It was the same shape as this vent right here, and on the back wall inside of my office. And as I held my hand up in it, my shadow was upright, and you could see my hand had multiple shadows. In the back of this vehicle that's parked at 320 West G Street in Ontario, California, you're looking at impossible light activity. You're looking at engineered light, which is what this is. This is engineered light. It's appearing through closed blinds. The blinds that have, again, you're looking at the size, you're looking at this space between this. This is highly magnified light, okay? This is my hand. As I move it up and down, this is magnified. And these holes, these are teeny tiny holes. I want you to see that. Teeny tiny holes. That's an act of the supernatural. You're looking at the demonic while you're witnessing this. The entity cycling this light, as you've also seen in documentation, this very pattern of the blinds, which is today going on to this side. The entity engaging and keeping this pattern of the blinds, moving it straight through the center of the apartment. As you saw it on the depths of my bedroom wall before, you saw the entity engage in all of that, swiping down through the center of the apartment. You've seen all sorts of iterations, nothing other than cycling engineered light. That's not sunlight. And you'll see engineered light in the back of this vehicle, whose both of the windshields are covered up, and you will see also the light source in its zenith hovering over my head while I'm inside of this vehicle at 7:15 in the morning. And again, that's at 320 West G Street. There is no sun, and you're also understanding that this isn't even sunlight. Remember the light that you see on my ceiling, where the light source is outside of this window. But I'm inside of my bedroom, and you're looking at the pattern of the blinds that are not appearing straight ahead, like you're seeing them straight ahead of the blinds. Actually, this isn't straight ahead. This is toward the vantage point. This is directed toward the wall. But nonetheless, you'll see what is the pattern of the blinds in my bedroom appearing above the head. You've seen before the pattern of the blinds appearing on the bedroom walls, appearing on the side of the walls in the living room as well. This has nothing to do with sunlight, and it has nothing to do with this light source. This is the demonic. You are literally witnessing the presence of Satan. I want to be clear. Satan is not a person. Satan is a spirit, and Satan is operative in the environment. And the very behavior of this light, all the ways in which I have shown to you, it's impossible light, because you're looking at what is the presence of the personification, in other words, in order to put it in words that you can understand, because you're talking about what is it, what do you mean the presence of Satan? You're looking at light. This is not sunlight. This is not normal light. This is engineered light. First of all, understand where this light is present, the entity is stalking. And that's why you have the ability to prosecute the government that's placing you under surveillance. They don't have a warrant or probable cause. There is no lawful basis in the U.S. for the government to place an American citizen under surveillance, all right, just to do so because they want to stalk and pursue you and target you. There is no law. There is no law. There is no basis whereby the government can do so vicariously through the people of the state, which is what group stalking is. And that's why you're also understanding everywhere that this engineered light is present, the government has no warrant, no probable cause, no lawful basis to place you under surveillance. This isn't sunlight. And I've shown you the maintenance of this engineered light, this abnormal light everywhere. In addition to what is the maintenance of this light source, which is not possibly the natural environment. That's how you know what the entity is doing, placing you under surveillance in the specific environment. The government has no lawful basis to do so. They're going to be prosecuted for what is terrorism, for sexual violence, being a sex offender, and also engaging in what is criminal surveillance. The light source is hovering over me at the same time where I'm inside of apartment 1806, number 6 in Los Angeles, 90026 at 7:15 in the morning. And I remain at 320 West G Street in Ontario, California, specifically at the intersection of G Street and Fern, where a wealth of documentation has been captured, by the way. Waking up on many days and the light source is hovering over 630 Fern Avenue, a third-party facilitating venue, that entire block, providing unlawful facilitation to the government that was stalking day and night in helicopter at that intersection, rising the light source as though that was the sun rising directly over the vehicle that I was inside of in the morning, aiming engineered light just like you'll see inside of that vehicle. And I want to be clear, that's another group of the people of the state, the same exact entity in the same exact specific environment, which is not the natural environment. The sun is not over that over that location at 320 West G Street at that vantage point at the same time that it's remaining here. And you know that because the light source is both rising and setting here. It is nowhere in the state of New York, by the way, while you're looking at it. New York is 3 hours ahead, so that will be 8, 9, 10:26. This is not over any state in New York. It's right here in alignment to my apartment, aiming engineered light into my apartment, into the depths of my apartment. This is speaking to what is not present in Indianapolis. This is not what they're looking at in the sky space, and it's impossible to be the case. It remains right here over the property all day long. This is indeed the specific environment, and while there are people in this country who are genuinely ignorant about the environment and the reality of the way that the environment is being controlled and operated, it's not the natural environment. Okay. You're also aware of the fact that it is intentional that we are being fed a specific narrative with regard to what is literally upon exposing the very common sense that is reflected in the pattern of conduct, the body of evidence. There are those that will there is no expert, in other words, that you can put on the stand in the federal prosecution of the state that will in any way be able to contend with or give an explanation for example, while the world is witnessing the so-called solar eclipse of the one sun, there's only one, and you're looking at the same time while it's hovering over my apartment, the edge of my apartment at 11:50 in the morning, remaining over me as I then walk back to the leasing office, remaining in alignment to the side of it. Not only that, it's just the plain duration of time that the light source is here, the fact that I'm capturing it rising and setting at the same address. There is no expert that can speak to that, okay? And you're talking about, again, the phenomenon, there's only one sun, and so it raises so many questions with regard to what the people of the state are, and the people of the state, remember, those are group stalkers. I'm referencing legally the criminal. And ordinary people, American citizens in this country, and you're looking at a light source that's above you and it's not the sun. And you know that because there's only one and this is not it. So that's what I'm stating. Because there's only one, because it's exclusive, that's how you're literally capable of knowing. There is no sun that's going to be over 320 West G Street in Ontario, California, hovering over my head in the same manner as it is in this video at 7:15 in the morning, where I'm at G Street at the intersection of Fern and G Street in Ontario. The same street, by the way, where I've captured the Ontario Police Department engaging in criminal summoning, engaging in intimidation and harassment by an entity with the intent to obstruct justice while documentation is ongoing, and the light source is hovering over me at Woodside Senior Apartments at 12:38 in the afternoon in its zenith over the top of my head. Don't forget about that documentation captured in July of 2020. All of this is speaking to what's supposedly the natural environment. It's not the natural environment. And what I captured at 7:15 in the morning, it's feet away from that same exact location, speaking to what's impossible while the entity is rising and setting the sun here. That's the specific environment there. It's also identifying the specific environment as I use one time in an entirely different region, and you're looking at the same time here while I'm in LA, and you're looking at what is maintaining zenith presence. And you're mindful of the fact it's not just that it's here at the same time as I'm reminding you about a different location at the same time. It stays here all day long. All right, and this is the surrounding with evidence. And remember, it's not just the fact that the government is caught engaging in this demonic system, targeting. This is how you're identifying a stalker in a helicopter that does so in a malicious manner, and assuming that it would never be able to be identified. But the entity has engaged in way too much stalking, way too much outright bad behavior, literally while I'm capturing a video. That's beyond a coincidence, as they're flying literally over my head in the presence of the engineered light, while the light source is over my head, while having a body of evidence speaking to the exact same conduct by an entirely different police agency doing the exact same thing in a specific environment. The specific environment is a phenomenon. Okay, so you're talking about what is the pattern of conduct under all instances. It is therefore beyond any reasonable doubt, literally, and that's the legal standard with regard to prosecution for the crime of criminal surveillance, federal group stalking and monitoring, and Title 18 by the state. But I want to be clear, the entity is also captured in the pattern of conduct where you are maintaining the specific environment for the duration of the day. So that's no natural environment. Looking at, like you saw yesterday afternoon, as I'm just opening my front door and my shadow is appearing on the ceiling, not the natural environment. The entity is, again, treating the ordinary observer as though you are an idiot, that you are a short-sighted, forgetful idiot, okay? That's literally, and I mean that. This is relying on your forgetting that you're looking at the pattern of the blinds on my ceiling, that you're forgetting about the fact that the entity is following me literally from place to place in helicopter as I remain at Alvarado Gardens, as though it's going to be something that you're forgetting about when I'm talking about a pattern of conduct. The entity is maintaining presence with helicopters. They literally fly over my apartment at the same time that I'm talking about it. They literally fly over my head at the same time that I'm talking about it. They literally fly over my office at the same time that I'm talking about it. It's incriminating. It is not in any way releasing the people of the state who are going to be prosecuted because they are wholeheartedly holding hands with the state while they're covered in engineered light. There's no sun that's going to be over any of their property while the light source remains for over 10 hours in the day. First of all, that's how you know it's engineered light and it's not sunlight. There is no sunlight that's going to be over all of their properties while the light source is captured at the same time at an entirely different location, 320 West G Street in Ontario, California, just to give you an example. This is engineered light. This is the specific environment, and the entity has also provided that ongoing evidence, which is corroboration. The entity not only stalking in that environment directly by helicopter, but also while you're looking at the iterations of impossible light activity you see inside of my office, you see what is literally outside on the property. While I'm outside and you're seeing my shadow appear in the shade, while you're seeing the people of the state arrive on the property and engineer light moves all across the surfaces, that's a specific environment. None of them are covered in what is the normal environment. This is the evidence against all of them. And that very bad behavior that they engage in is the same behavior that's going to be used against them. And it is what ties them all together as well, because all of those aspects of that pattern of conduct, each of them are phenomenal, exceptional, supernatural. And that's how you're tying together a group that wants to be considered strangers, I would say disconnected, all right, disinterested. This is the system, this is the malice, understand? Oh, but they're all tied together because you'll have a third party that's nameless with a regular license plate, a third party that has a logo on their vehicle, a third party that is identified with the venue. It doesn't matter who they are. They're all engaging in the same pattern of conduct. Driving your vehicle and lights moving all across the asphalt and buildings? No. That's a demon that's stalking in the path with light. That's the pattern of conduct. And they do this in the specific environment where the sun is rising and setting. They do this in the environment where engineered light is appearing and creating multiple shadows, creating shadows above your head, multiple shadows at nightfall, where the entity is engaging in what is group stalking via the use of amplified sirens, where the entity is engaging in what is demonic behavior that is following whatever the target individual does physically and on a communication device. That's the behavior of demons that are able to do that. They're doing it where the entity is maintaining ongoing criminal presence in that specific environment, engaging in surveillance, by the way, where the target individual is stalking in helicopters day and night. This is capturing that POC at 7:34 a.m. And this is the ongoing evidence that's going to be used against the people of the state. Again, the case against the state of California is already established. The fact that the state of California has been stalking and engaging in surveillance is already established. As I said a long time ago, the people of the state are going to be prosecuted. There is no matter of numerosity under the grounds upon which they will avoid justice. This is that case that is speaking to what is beyond any ability to refuse justice to the targeted individual, as I have shown through facts and evidence what the system is and how the system is in operation. And then you're talking about what is a matter of common sense. Much of this, sunlight's not going to appear above your head in the back bedroom, while the entity wants to suggest that this is the natural environment. And no federal court, no federal judge, the federal government is not forgetful of all of the evidence that you've witnessed while the entity is engaging in clear stalking by the state. All right, the people of the state are fully engaged in that. The people of the state are of a specific character, a condition as well. And this is exposing what is legally relevant. Demons that are surrounding you in your path, demons that are malicious psychopaths who are posing a threat and terrorizing you while they are maintaining presence in that environment. I don't care if you live at the facility and venue or not. It's ongoing terrorism, and the fact that you live there is going to be used against you because that's the malice that they intended to target the target individual with in the first place. And so now it's being used against you. The fact that you are living and targeting 24 hours a day in concert with the state in that specific environment, that's unlawful, intolerable level of assistance to a government that's engaged in terrorism. And I want to be clear, LAPD today, April 9th, 2024 at 7 a.m. sounding helicopter activity. So we're starting, the entity is engaged in obsessive stalking in a specific environment. And today, as of April 9th, at 7 a.m. sounding helicopter activity while the sun is rising in alignment to my apartment, the same apartment where it's setting in alignment to my apartment. And this is why everybody at Alvarado Gardens, the people of the state that live around the target individual, providing 24-hour, that is an unprecedented and intolerable level of assistance, engaging in criminal surveillance with the government that's threatening the life of an American citizen, engaging in Title 18 criminal conduct, engaging in what is criminal surveillance in violation of your constitutional and human rights, they go to federal prison for that. All right. And this is a message that the federal government is going to send to the people of the state throughout this country, engaging in state surveillance, because you already know that this is the case, because you're understanding what is not a natural environment. All right. Any state where the government's engaged in this, California is going to be placed on the map, will be made an example of. If you want to target an American citizen, which I'm going to let you know right now, you don't want to, because the price is steep. You will lose everything. Not only are they going to lose custody of their children, whom they have made group stalkers, meaning they've made them sex offenders, they've made them terrorists, they've made them criminals in cahoots with a corrupt government. Okay, that is a very big thing, and CPS is not going to hesitate to take those children. They are going to also be subject to mental examinations because of the demented pattern of conduct that a people are engaging in against an innocent American citizen for no legitimate purpose, no legitimate reason whatsoever. These are ticking time bombs who are right now free walking about, hiding the fact that they are of a specific condition, which is demon possession, which is legally relevant, but it's also relevant for you in your everyday life, because these ticking time bombs are literally walking around now, working with children, working with the public, flying planes, driving public transportation. In other words, having lives, people's lives in their hands. And then you're seeing tragedies that happen on the news every day, and you're never given the truth behind about what's going on. And there are a lot of things that you could be made aware of that can be prevented when people of this condition, and I want to be clear, there's no religious protection. It's not just the fact that you're of this condition, it's the fact that you're engaging in a criminal system with the government while you're of that condition. Let me be clear, this criminal surveillance, federal group stalking and monitoring is only practiced by the demon possessed. Okay, so it is legally relevant. There is no religious protection. It's the government that's engaging in it, and it's occurring in a specific environment. And you know that the specific environment is actually around you because of the exclusivity of the light source that they are maintaining around me, which is not possibly the sun, not possibly the object where a solar eclipse was observed yesterday. And you're going to look at the body of evidence. Okay, it is currently 7:38 a.m. I'm going to upload the video of what I captured in June of 2022 at 7:15 in the morning, where I remained in Ontario, far from anywhere where LAPD could be flying next to or over the light source in order to target me. It's not the same sky space. No sunlight would be over. Certainly no sunlight, even though this isn't even sunlight, but you're attacking, you're prosecuting the illusion that the entity is surrounding you with, absent any warrant or probable cause. There is no lawful basis to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring. All right, this is POC.